Definitely get nervous before a race. You know, every rock, every tree. I've had to step up and do ballsy lines in race runs. You've always got to be ready for anything.
Never count the big man Steve Pete, 38 years old this year.
He's been a king for a long time.
Old school himself.
The drive and motivation of this man, he's brilliant.
Carrying speed.
15 years like the top.
Absolute legend in mountain biking.
I've travelled all over the world now for 25, 30 years, I guess. And yeah, there's definitely a nice spirit in Sheffield. Once you're in the city centre, it's only a couple of miles to get into the countryside. Yorkshire can be quite tough when you have to train all winter in the wet and the mud and the grit and the grime. I think it builds character in people and makes them more hardy. Growing up, I mean, for me, learning to ride a bike, I was 2 or 3 years old. I've got 2 older brothers, and a lot of people say to me now, later in life, oh, that's why you're so competitive. My dad was into motorcycle trials, so most weekends he'd be at a trial in the countryside around here, around Sheffield, and we'd just go along, we'd all take our own bikes and just end up riding around the hills and around the bracken and playing. So I think that definitely helped me have a love for the outdoors. My mum always says, I only came back to the house to eat or sleep. I entered my first race as a novice and won that race. It just kept going from there. Started gunning national races, winning World Cups. I've won 17 over quite a long period. The World Championships for me was definitely a tough one. I was always going to try and win. I tried for 17 years. I had no idea that I'd even race a mountain bike. I started quite late, to be honest. I rode BMX, and then when mountain biking came out, I borrowed a friend's mountain bike one day and just loved it. So I used to do a paper round. I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning and do a milk round, delivering milk. And I saved all my money up to buy myself a mountain bike. That's my most current bike, but I've also got a couple of old bikes hanging up on the wall here. They've all got a little story. The special one is the one right on the end there, which is it's a Muddy Fox Roadrunner, and it's my first ever mountain bike. Just rode that bike every day round local woods, round the streets at night, buying beers, drinking beers, riding bikes. I had no aspirations to go and win everything at mountain biking. I just went to the races to have fun and ride with my friends, and it turned out I was pretty good at it, so kept going, and here I am now. After school, I wanted to be a plumber. I always fancied being a plumber and did it for a good few years, but I think it was 95 was the first year I actually got offered some money to become a pro. I got offered 10,000 quid to ride for Saracen Bikes or something like that. And the guy that I was working for at the time actually told me to go and do it. We're heading to Leighton Vans now for a nice brand new T6.
Oh, Steve, how's your van doing?
Looks lovely, mate. Whoa. I'd done a few World Cups, 94, 95. I was building, I was getting better and better. I was winning everything in the UK. And the first race of 96 was in Panticosa in Spain. And I ended up getting second. And it was funny. I always say to people, like, the week after that, I think I had about 200 new friends. Because I'd got on a podium and everyone was like, oh, well done, Steve. And then everybody suddenly wanted to be my friend. So racing definitely helped with that. Feels quite pokey, this van.
Hello.
Good holiday.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
Fluent
Trebon.
This is where we grew up. We used to ride and just go straight into the park. When it got to tea time, my dad used to have this really high-pitched whistle where he just whistled through his teeth, didn't he? And if we ever heard that whistle, we knew we were late for dinner, so we'd just come sprinting home.
Nice memories.
Come on, let's have a look what Dad's left in garage. When I won my first World Cup, which was in 1998, things suddenly clicked a little bit then. I was like, right, I finally won one. I'm like the fastest guy in the world on this one day, on this track. Quite like that feeling. I want to do this a little bit more.
Any good?
Oh, my old chain rings. Dad kept everything just in case he needed it to fix something.
You need to speak to Adele about hoarding.
I think it's just his passion. He's grown up with motorbikes with his dad, and push bikes are just his passion, mountain bikes.
That one, I actually won Fort Bill World Cup in 2005. 20,000 people there. The noise when I came into like the finish arena was absolutely unreal. It humbled me. I was in the finish line, I got emotional.
I used to race BMX, and then I just went into mountain bike racing. We'd met at a national, I think it was 20 years ago, something like that. And that's it really, we just hit it off.
That one in the middle is my World Champs bike. World Champs was a bit of a monkey on the back for me. It took 17 years for me to actually win the World Championships. I'd had so many starts at World Championships where I finished second, maybe 4 times. I'd had crashes while being last man down the hill, and a lot of those hurt really bad. In 2009 in Canberra, in Australia, I finally managed it, and that's the bike that I won on. Still got some of the dirt on it now. It was unreal. I mean, even my fellow competitors, I think, were finally happy for me to win because it took so long. I laid down in the back of the hot seat in the back of this truck that was there, and I just wanted to soak it all in on myself and like do it for that, but I couldn't because all these people were coming in and they were all so happy for me. My whole mentality on winning that World Championship was finally, I've done it, finally. It's relief because I've done it for all the people that have supported me. I kind of said to myself, I want to do as much as I can for the sport while I'm in the World Championship jersey. So I didn't have the greatest year racing that next year, but I was filming photo shoots. I was visiting local schools and doing little talks, taking my jersey in and passing it around to the kids, and just getting on people's radar that downhill mountain biking is a great sport and it's good for everybody. Yeah, this event, Petey's Steel City Downhill, it's called. This is my local wood. We worked really closely with the Wildlife Trust. We've made this trail, and all the money that we make goes back into maintaining these trails and building new trails. It's just a good, fun, good feel race. I think for me, back in the day, when I was winning World Cups and I was still at the top of the sport, I decided I wanted to help younger riders out at that point. I've got a few friends that come around. Got Loose Dog over here, Red Shorts. He's a neighbour of mine that I know his dad, knocking about with him for a few years, and he started getting into mountain biking, so I helped him out a little bit at first, and now he goes and races all over the world, sponsored. Sam Dale has raced for many years. Josh Bryceland over there was World Cup champion 4 years ago, I think.
Sort of come up through racing under Petey's wing. He always helped me since a real young age. He's a generous man. Give me all sorts of bikes and sponsors back in the day. So yeah, he's been a legend, and always ended up riding here because Warncliffe and Grenna are right there. And I think Petey's an absolute grafter. He's just got work ethic through and through. When I first started, I learned it all myself, so I was trying to pass on my knowledge to those guys to make it easier for them to go and get to races, and they've all done really well because of it. Almost get a feeling of proud dad. Both my sons ride bikes. They raced BMX a little bit.
They've got skills on bikes, they can do jumps. But now they play cricket, they do all kinds of different sports and different stuff, and I don't put pressure on them to do anything. I didn't get that pressure on me when I was younger, and I think they'll figure it out for themselves at some point. But obviously, with my lifestyle, they're always going to have bikes involved. Nice! Now I'm not racing World Cup anymore. I ride a bike for fun, which is how it all started when I was younger. And I've got that same feeling now. Go out on a bike, have fun, come back, feel good about myself. I got into the sport because I enjoyed riding bikes, and I still enjoy riding bikes to this day, and mountain biking's in my heart. I feel really lucky that I've been able to turn it into a job, and hopefully I'll do it forever. As long as I can walk, I'll be riding a bike.